a whole lot of details that I can provide, but I'll give you what I have. About 4:33 a.m., we had a call to the 3500 block of South Larch Avenue. That's an apartment building, and somebody reported that a person had been stabbed. We ended up finding a 45-year-old man with stab wound. He was given medical treatment but was pronounced deceased on scene. We believe that there was some type of fight or altercation between two guys, the deceased and then one other person. We've located that other person. That's really all we have at this point in time. We don't know what led up to that altercation. There's going to be an autopsy today, so we'll hopefully be able to determine the number of times and if it was stab wounds or if it was something else. But no arrests or charges at this point. We're just looking for information. Detectives are following up on stuff. There's going to be quite a bit of activity related to that. The other thing is, excuse me, if anybody was in the area or has information, we'd like them to call police or Crime Stoppers. I don't think I have anything else, but I can certainly answer questions.
That particular area has been a problem area?
I'd have to look. I know we've had police calls in that area before. I don't know the extent of that, though.
What was the nature of that original call?
The original call, let me just check here. It came in as a stab slash gunshot. That's just a generic call type, so anytime anybody has been stabbed or there's a gunshot, that's the one that gets used.
So it doesn't mean that there was a gunshot?
No, it's that category. It basically encompasses stabs and gunshots, and so that they just, I don't know why they have that combined as opposed to having separate ones, but that's just the way it is.
Not much detail. Is that just because it's?
Just because it's so early. I was just checking with the detectives before the briefing, and they really don't have a whole lot of information. So they're making progress, they're finding people, talking to people, but probably some of the key, I guess, questions that people would have, we don't have answers to those yet. That's why we're looking if other people have information, but it's just going to take time before we're able to get into this. And I mean, it's only been a few hours. So I think we believe everything was just between these two people. We have obviously the deceased, and then we have the other person found. So we're still working to try to figure out exactly what happened, what took place.
So is this inside an apartment unit, in a hallway, on the property?
That I guess I don't know. I think it was in the apartment hallway, but I don't know that for sure.
You guys have the victim identified, right?
Yes, we know. Yeah, we're not going to release. We've identified the victim. The most I can say is just his age, 45, but we're not going to give out his name yet. I don't know that notification has been made to family members yet. So, and I don't. Just looking to see. I guess I don't know if we know that. The victim was found in an apartment hallway. I don't know if that's where the altercation took place or if that was somewhere else. I don't know if we have that information yet.
And this other person that was there, are they considered suspect or TBD?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I'd classify him as a suspect at this point in time. We just don't have enough information. It may go that way, but it depends on how this unfolds. So, I mean, like I said, we believe that we have the two people that were involved in this located. The extent, the relationship, what happened, that we're all trying to work on. So.
Can you talk a little bit about how these investigations unfold and you know, when the information will be available?
Yeah, so there's really no timeline. Every investigation is different, and it really varies. Sometimes we get a lot of information right away, and it's easy to kind of put things together. other investigations take time. And so there's really no time frame. We're not on a time crunch trying to figure out, we need this by this point in time. You know, it's just how that all unfolds. So we've got people to interview, and so we'll learn stuff by that. Surveillance cameras are always big in pretty much every investigation now, so detectives will be looking at surveillance cameras, maybe neighborhood cameras, maybe business cameras. There's a lot of cameras everywhere now, and those are very important in investigations nowadays. So it's a combination of all of that stuff. Certainly the autopsy and getting that initial assessment from the coroner will provide details, and that may guide the direction one way or another, but I don't have a way of giving you an exact time frame of when we're going to have some of those answers, but we're working on those, and obviously they're important to you guys, but they're important to us as well, and moving this case forward.
Sam, there's a lot of tension out there, and neighbors this morning were blaming the cops for not showing up when they call them. Said we call all the time, and the police don't show up. How do you determine when you know, how fast you react to a domestic call?
There's a lot of different variables and factors that play into that. I'd say first and foremost is the information that's provided to the dispatchers. And the Metro Communications, they do a fantastic job. They're the ones that receive that information, and they pass it on to police or emergency services. And so what it all comes down to is what they're being told. And so the dispatchers, they don't interpret anything. They take the information that's given and pass that along. So I don't know the specifics to those, I guess, complaints or issues that people had said, but really that's what it hinges on. The information is provided to Metro. Metro makes that decision on that call type, and then they send the officers. So I think the response is based off of that information that's received. So if there's an immediate danger to people, life or injury to people, there's going to be a higher response. If there's some type of argument, neighbor dispute, even a property crime, that's going to have a lower response time. It really just kind of depends, and there's a lot of variables and factors that play into that.
Yeah, it sounded like they just say they call a lot because the people are always fighting in that building and screaming at each other, and you just answered that. So, thanks.
Anything else on that? Okay. I don't have anything else in the log. Everything else is reports. Essentially nothing big. So, thank you.